Oh my God. Weldon missing the point. The Celtics just lost game one to the fucking Miami Heat. That looked
This,
like an AAU team out there.
the Celtics are gonna make me bipolar, bro. They send me such dynamic highs and lows that like sometimes I question if I'm having a manic episode or if I just watched an episode, if I just watched a game the Celtics
I
played. You know?
honestly, I honestly don't think like I watch obviously a fair number of sports, right? I'm a soccer fan, as you know, and I've watched a lot of bad Liverpool teams over the last few years of my life. I'm a football fan. I've been a fan of the Chicago Bears since like the year 1998. And I genuinely don't think that a team has made me more angry than the 2023 Boston Celtics because they're so talented.
Yeah, it's the
Like they
expectation. That's
have
the expectation
such,
that kills it. Yeah.
oh my God, it's the hope that kills you. You know, it's not the fall that kills you. It's watching this team go from that great run where we go up. I think it was like a 15-3 run.
For
And it
anyone that
was like,
missed it, we just lost game one, by the way.
yeah, we
Yeah,
just lost
we just lost game one. It sucked.
fucking Kel Caprice.
Yeah.
Um, we go on like a 15-3 run that I was yelling to no one because no one's here watching the game with me. Nobody was available on here on this Wednesday night. And my wife is at a work thing. So I was yelling to my dog that it was the Al Horford run because he was like the central piece, in my opinion, to that run. He was like making his shots, he was facilitating, he was playing defense. And I love when it's a guy like Al or a guy like Brogdon or a guy like Smart, like, you know, a kind of like, you know, the next tier down from the Jays, making plays and facilitating the game. And we go on this 15-3 run that we kind of let them get it back to 10 at the end of the second. And it's like, okay, well, it's all good. Like, it was a good run. And it was the way that we made that run was the way that you beat the Miami Heat. Like last night, we talked, myself, Mike, and Ray talked about how you do it in a basketball sense, how you confuse that zone, how you get open shots in the perimeter by passing into the holes in the zone or dribbling into the holes in the zone or playmaking late in the shot clock, right? And we'll come on to talk about the shot clock management by both teams in this game. And they were doing that. So why is it so frustrating? Because they can do it. You're watching it happen. You know,
They can do it easily too. That's the
easily,
thing is they make it look
easily,
easy. You know what I
easily.
mean? That stretch looked like we should beat this team by 40. That's how good they
Where I thought it
looked
was going,
in that
where I thought
stretch,
it was
man.
going,
Yeah.
honestly. And you know yourself, like another thing we talked about last night, and a thing, a drum I kept banging. Um, 1-on-1, we match up with them all across the floor,
Yep,
like
everywhere.
completely across the floor. Like
Mhm.
there's like Jimmy can go do Jimmy shit, and you don't let it kill you because you just make sure you're there with a hand in the face of a Max Strus, you know, or a Gabe Vincent, or any one of the other fucking undrafted players that they have on their nothing team.
Fucking many. It's crazy.
I like there was
That team is stupid.
moments in that game I was like, how did the Heat even get here? Like, how did they even fucking get here? Like, how did they beat the Bucks? Like this, I watched that series and it still doesn't make sense to me. And I think it's because they pick their moments so well and they manage the game so well. And what the reason why they match up so badly against this Celtics team in particular is because we do the opposite. Like, we don't take our moments well in games. We don't manage moments well in games. So just the fact that we have the mentally weaker team and the less tougher team, and we let them play the game that they want to play tonight is so fucking frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
It's so I said this earlier to you guys. This team is so much better than Miami, and they know it. They know how much better they are. But the thing is, Miami also knows that they can outwork the shit out of the Celtics. They will outwork them down to the bone. And if the Celtics let them do that, this is gonna be a very, very long series because that's gonna be a consistent theme. Is there's gonna be moments in this series against the Heat that you're gonna see them just outworking the Celtics. There's going to be like 5-6 minute stretches where they get like 6 offensive rebounds or just like stupid shit like that. And I guarantee you that keeps happening. 100%.
yeah, it's very, very frustrating. I don't think Joe Mazzulla covered himself in glory today, but let's take it player by player from a Celtics perspective. Just, I mean, obviously, you know, the caveat of these post game reactions, everyone listening is like, we're a little emotional. Okay. Obviously, like game 6 of the 76ers series, I was like calling NBA front offices to shop Jason Tatum for fucking Volvo parts. But I'm emotional, okay, right after the game. So just like take everything I say with a grain of salt. But
Well, that
most
was during the game. That was in the third quarter.
but I admitted it on the air. So and it was but honestly, like I had those, I was calling those same fucking numbers at the end of the fourth quarter. So let's take it player by player. And I'm gonna start with Marcus Smart because I think that he was one of the lone bright spots in an otherwise fucking pathetic Celtics performance across the third quarter and then eventually really the fourth quarter. I think Marcus, again, like some of his decision making is questionable on shots. I really do think that, but I think you as Celtics fans and as a Celtics team, we live with that when he's getting 10 assists in the first half, when he's playmaking really intelligently against his own defense, when he's facilitating and advocating for his team, when he's playing really good defense, when he's laying out for stuff, when he's bleeding, when he's leading the charge of an effort-based performance, like he did in Game 6 against Philadelphia. They followed him to that, though, in Game 6 against Philadelphia. They did not follow him to that tonight. When
I just don't.
Smart is at his playmaking best. I think we can beat any team in the world. In the league, I think that we need to see what he was able to do with those passes and exploit that in the future and make him play that sort of game. And you could tell in the third quarter that was gone. That game plan is just out.
I don't know what the fuck happened, dude. That's what I was just gonna say. Is like, you shot the ball 2 times in the first half. They said they said it as they went to half. They're like, Marcus is playing great. Blah 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 blah. Only 2 field goal attempts, but he's affecting the game, bro. By the 8-minute mark in the third quarter, he had 5 shots. This so the entire first half, which was working, you were playing amazing. You had 2 shots. You come out for some reason in the third quarter and you decide that you're no longer doing that. You're doing the exact opposite. I don't know. I thought he was hurt.
See what had happened, and then he just like was not in the game for like the majority of the fourth quarter.
Let's see what Twitter has to say.
Somebody was saying that like he was getting into an argument with Joe Mazzulla, which I wanted to get into a fucking argument with Joe Mazzulla, to be quite honest with you. But if that's the case and you're doing that on the sidelines and you've lost the fucking locker room already, Joe, which we'll come on to talk about you as well, but we're gonna do the players first. And it's like at my point, to close my earlier point, most of the time you do live with that as a Marcus Smart watcher and a Celtics fan, right? Like you live with some of the questionable shot making decisions, but when you fucking roll them all up into an already terrible fucking third quarter performance by the whole team, you're in a situation now where I hate you. I'm screaming at you when you're taking these shots, and it's like, the momentum of the game, you need to just have the basketball IQ to realize what's happening and realizing that this is them taking their shot. This is them coming out from halftime and taking their shot at this Celtics team. Because Spoelstra gets them in the locker room. He knows what worked and what didn't, and he tells them so. And you're going to need to weather a certain level of a storm in the third quarter, but instead their heads fucking fall off. Which leads me to Jason Tatum. Like Stan Van Gundy's making a point. And like, honestly, Joe Mazzulla, if Stan Van Gundy is seeing stuff that you're not seeing, like, you're in fucking trouble, dude. That guy was like one of the worst coaches I've ever seen. Professional basketball team. Like he had an Orlando Magic team, which we should not have lost to in the playoffs. But he had an Orlando Magic team whose game plan was literally like, just shoot the 3. And not like, oh, the Celtics shoot the 3 at like a really high clip. And it's like take efficient shots. It was like Dwight Howard gets it in the post, dishes it out to whoever's like kind of open, and they shoot.
Hedo Turkoglu.
Hedo fucking Turkoglu, and no other game plan, right? And Van Gundy's thing was he would just like yell at the refs and have a mustache. Those are like the 2 things that he did. But if he's seeing that you're not getting the ball into the hands of your best player, and I guess this is my question for you, Bobby. Tatum obviously coughs up the fucking game at the end, right? Like, I mean, that's just like sort of a fact. Like 2 fucking travels, right? Yeah, 2 travels, coughs up, loses possession, like sloppy fucking turnovers. But riddle me this. If he has the ball in his hands for the 6 minutes prior to that absolute car crash of the last 4 minutes, Is he a little warmer? Is he a little bit more involved in the game? Is he able to facilitate more down the stretch? When you're using him as a fucking screener and like, a guy to be the third pass in a setup, that's not going to help. So I blame Joe Mazzulla for that. Now, at the same time, if you're Jason Tatum, fucking get yourself involved,
fuck
dude.
that. Nah,
Get
fuck
yourself fucking involved, bro.
that. Yeah.
And he does hide, Bobby. Like he does.
He does. He disappears, man.
Fucking frustrating, bro.
I don't
But then
know
this
why.
is off the back of a 51-point game 7.
That's what I mean. I don't
Game
know what
7
happens,
ever.
bro. Because
How do I feel about this?
sometimes he's such a killer, and he just goes after it, and it's like you can see it in his eyes. You know when Tatum is about to be that guy, but you also know when he's about to hide for 15, 16-minute stretches, bro. That third quarter, like I don't know. Missoula took him out. He took him out because he was. I honestly think he took him out because he wasn't doing anything for like that.
But he
Remember,
wasn't, though. I mean, like it's hard for me to like say that, like, because like okay, get him on the bench in the third. That's fair enough, right? Like if he's really not doing shit, get him on the bench in the third and like see what he can do in the fourth. But then when he goes in the fourth quarter, he doesn't do anything either for like the first 6 minutes of the fourth quarter. And it's
I
like
just don't know how it's the same dude. If I'm being perfectly honest, it makes no sense, man. That he can see, because there was points in the first half where he was attacking too. You know what I mean? Like he was attacking the whole hard in that first half, but then he just I don't know if maybe Jimmy got it in his head or something happened. I don't know.
Yo, he
Something
looks
must
really
have
weird.
happened,
He
'cause
honestly, he looks really weird when like Bam guards him. Have you noticed that? Like I feel
someone
like
bigger and stronger. You think?
but like Bam specifically, like I feel like like for some reason, like when he's not able to like run, when he's not able to take his last 2 steps to the basket with his length, right? Like
Yeah,
that's what he was
yeah.
doing with that 51-point performance. He was like, I'm just like longer and faster than everybody. So if I spin you and I put you in the fucking meat grinder and I go up, I have a foot on you with my arm. Like I'm already up there. And Bam seems to be able to like keep up with that. And they were playing really good help defense on him because they weren't doing what the Sixers do. And this is what I said Spoelstra was going to be so much better at. I said this on the show yesterday.
He's such a good coach,
He's
man.
so
It's
much
unbelievable.
fucking better than Joe Mazzulla. It's great.
It's sickening.
But like this is what he was doing really well. It's like the Sixers, what they would do, which was kind of playing into his hands. It's like, okay, Jason Tatum has the ball, bring the help, right? As opposed to wait for him to make his move, then bring the help, which is what the Heat were doing. They were coming late with the help defense, which is like what you're supposed to fucking do. So I don't know what the Sixers were doing, but they were sliding like small guards over to help on the defensive front and just like put their hands in and like disrupt what he was doing. And his fucking head exploded. He didn't know what to do with that. And it's pass. It's pass to the guy that the guy has left. You know what I mean? And it's off the block right next to you. It's not across the court. They're not bringing wide help from the corner to prevent you at the line. They're not bringing a big guy to come swat it. They're bringing a guard from the perimeter to come and disrupt it because he's doing that thing where he's like putting the ball out in front of him and putting it low. And they're like, all right, we're seeing he's doing that. And then they're putting their hands in there. And it's like, yo, you got to adjust, bro. It's a guard. Switch on him, switch on him, and now you have him in the post. I do always wish he had a better post game, but anyway, whatever.
So, I mean, at the same time, too, though, I mean, obviously, their strategy. So, Miami's strategy is clearly to stop Tatum, right? That's their number one thing. They're screening over to him. They're going over to him. Where was Jalen, man? Jalen has Vincent.
I think he's hurt. I think he's hurt. Like I think
he has
beat
Vincent and Strus on him all game long.
But he's beat up though.
He should dominate them, though. I know he should dominate them.
But have you noticed that like he's not committing to going to the rim at all?
Yeah, he's not.
Like he's pulling up and he's spinning and he's making his mid-range shots. But like if you're Miami, you live with those mid-range shots. You're like, that's cool. You can take spinning jump shots, fadeaway jump shots, Jaylen Brown. Like that's cool. If they go in for a while, like that's whatever, right? If you're on the opposite side of it, and we're talking, we've talked a lot about the kind of shots that you live with. And it is pretty fucking basic basketball, and it's annoying that we have to keep pointing this out. But like across 4 games, I'm screaming until my eyes are popping out of my head that we need to live with PJ Tucker shooting wide open threes in the corner, right? What happens eventually? We live with PJ Tucker. We play 2 bigs. Rob floats off him. We live with him and taking threes. He hits a few, and then he stops hitting them. And then we have help at the rim, right?
Yep.
The problem being, they'll live with Jalen's mid-range game. It is what it is, right? It's fine. He needs to go harder to the basket. I'm worried that he's hurt. we are living with everybody's shot on the Miami Heat.
That
That's
was
the
that
problem.
was yeah, that was a big problem.
I mean, it's like you're looking at it's not Tyler Hero, right? It's not Oladipo. It's fucking Strus, Gabe Vincent,
And,
Kevin Love,
Martin,
Caleb Martin.
bro,
And
he
it's
was
like
good today.
yeah, I mean, they were all fucking good because they were letting them all shoot wide open threes.
Yeah,
Like, I was desperate to say on the show yesterday, like, just you gotta get them one-on-one. You gotta get all of them one-on-one. Like, you can't let them get that zone switch on you where they're all helping each other out. It's like spread them out, move the ball, and get somebody one-on-one. Get a good matchup. That's how you beat them because we can get favorable matchups every time we go down the fucking floor if we want, you
and
know?
that's what's frustrating about Joe is there's no play calling, so
There isn't.
there's no attempt to
Nobody
isolate
knows
those
nobody knows when
mismatches,
they
you
should
know what I mean?
yeah,
And
nobody knows
and
who's the guy's supposed to be in a
well,
particular
and it's
situation.
kinda unfair for them for you
I
to
agree.
expect them to be able to break down a zone and see that matchup on the fly right there. You know what I mean? That's a very difficult thing for a young basketball team to do because granted, they're still a young team. If we're
Honestly, for
talking
any
if
basketball
we're
team
talking
to do.
for any team, for like the '96 Bulls, it would have been a struggle. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, they
like,
probably would've figured it out.
of course
But
they
they
would.
had Phil Jackson.
But exactly, bro. It's just it's so frustrating that there's just no attempt to try and isolate things that are so clear. And me and you were calling them out mid game. We're like, bro, why aren't these things happening? And when the spectators at home, when the coaches on the couch are calling you out and they're right over you, that's an issue, man.
Yeah.
And like we talk about all this all we want, and it doesn't matter what the players do in the end if the coach isn't gonna make the adjustments to put them in a successful situation
It
after
just
that.
doesn't it doesn't feel like they know like the players know who to go to in a given situation, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you remember, like, and of course we bang this fucking drum all the time, but, like, it's the only time I've ever seen my team win a fucking championship. The '08 Celtics, like, you knew, I knew, they knew who was gonna do what in a
Yep.
given situation,
Yep.
right? Like, and maybe there was a criticism that that team was overly structured for the talent that we had, like, maybe. But when we ran plays for a Ray Allen shot in the corner, you knew I could tell you in that playoff run, and but fuck it, by the middle of the regular season that year, because that regular season was so much fun to watch,
The setup would look like it was going to
I could
KG. They would do the
yeah,
fake to KG
yes.
and
I could tell you what second on the shot clock Ray Allen was gonna release the ball and
yep.
be right within,
Yep.
like, 2 or 3 seconds, right? And, Ray Allen had a quote right around that time. Every buzzer beater I ever hit for the Celtics was a pass from Paul Pierce. Every single one, and that's
Yeah,
true.
man. It
That's
is.
fucking true, right?
This
So, because why? Because Pierce I mean, look, I don't know if the ISO game works as well in the modern NBA with how fast the big men are and how much that they can, like, move across the floor. But Pierce and I'm not saying to do this necessarily, but Pierce would set up that ISO, and he would wait in the shot clock, and we're gonna come in to talk about the fucking shot clock now in a second. He would wait in the shot clock, and he would wait, like, 2 or 3 seconds more than I ever wanted him to, right? Instead of going at 11 or 9,
yeah.
he'd go at, like, 8 or 7, and I'd be like, "Okay." Maybe it was actually probably was 9 most of the time, but I'd be like, "Ah, go at 11." I'd be like, "Go at 14." But he would go at 9, he would wait that extra second, he would lull the defense in, he would dish it to Ray, and Ray would obviously hit every wide open 3 he ever was given, right? So, why can't we have plays designed around our best player
Yeah.
and his ability to shoot, drive, shoot from anywhere, right? Create his own shot and facilitate. And you, as a basketball team, drill the idea that when he does that in big scoring situations, necessary scoring situations, like in the fourth quarter down the stretch, you are in a very specific spot. So he doesn't
Right.
have to look. He doesn't have to look. All he has to do is see the defender slide out of the corner of his eye. Oh, that defender sliding? I'm going to Malcolm Brogdon. Oh, that defender sliding? I'm going to Al Horford. But they're always standing in different fucking places. They don't look like they know what they're supposed to be doing in crunch time, big shot situations. And I'm not even saying Ime was particularly good at this, but at least Ime had this other thing going on where we would play really aggressive fucking defense.
He sure did.
So the offense would sort of sort itself out. Right? Like, it was
Yeah.
like, "All right, well, you guys can just, like, your shots will fall, like, get it going." We would
Well,
run
that's
occasionally, but
I mean, that's literally the reason why that offense sputters so much is you see them try and force that early shot in the shot clock, like we said, and it's because they're not confident that if they keep going, they're gonna have the the right play to get the fucking basket, bro. It's so frustrating to watch sometimes because but like when they're about to do it is the
yeah.
thing. When Derek White's about to shoot that shot with 19 seconds on the shot clock. When
Or the
Marcus is
guy
about to
right
shoot
in
that shot.
front of him,
It's so
or
frustrating, man. And they have the ability. Like, when was the last time you saw a pick and roll
I
being run?
know. Dude,
You
I
know
was
what I
just gonna
mean? Like,
say
what the
that. I
fuck is
was just
going
gonna
on with
say
that,
that.
man?
How many times in this playoffs have we seen plays work on us consistently that we don't adjust to, and it's frustrating? How many times in this series, in this playoffs, have we seen the Celtics discover a play that works and stick to it until the other team figures it out? It's not a
0.
thing. It's not a
0.
thing.
They do it
We
once. They do it once, and then it's
and
gone.
then it's
It's
gone
gone.
because
It's like
it's
it'll
not a
never
real
fucking
play.
it's unbelievable.
It's not
Right.
a real
Right.
play.
It's just playground, and they just happen to do yeah. Yeah.
Dude, my brother texted me. He was watching the game, and he's been watching the playoffs like recently, but he doesn't watch basketball that much, right? And he was like, "Is it just me?" And he was asking me this question in earnest. He's like, "Is it just me, or is the Celtics team like not very deep?" And I was like, "I think we have one of, if not the best bench in basketball right now."
Yeah, we do.
And he was
He just
like,
doesn't he just doesn't
"No
know how to
way."
use
He
it.
was
He
like,
doesn't know
"No
how to
way."
use it, man.
He was like, I'm looking at like 6 guys out there consistently for the whole game." And I was like, "Well, I'm not anti-shortening the rotation for the playoffs, as you know, Bobby. Like I have been like pretty ruthless with the end of the bench in our years covering this team. But like, come on, man. Like, what do you expect Peyton Pritchard to do when you throw him in when you're hemorrhaging fucking points already in the third quarter? And like, what do you want him to do? What do you want him to do in there? Do you want him to play defense on Jimmy Butler? Because that's not going to go well. And that is apparently is what he wanted him to fucking do. I can't even
That is what he went yeah,
fathom it. I can't
what
even
was like 3,
fathom
4
it.
possession. But I just don't understand, like, what exactly there's no plan going forward, you know what I mean? That's what it feels like. It's just always
Listen
on
to
the
his talk.
fly,
Listen
and
to
it's
his fucking timeout
yeah,
talks. They're not anything.
I mean, bro, the fact that we're throwing out a new rotation right now, like we said, is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. The fact that we completely changed who was playing based off of last series in
I
game
know.
1 of the Eastern
I
Conference
know.
Finals. It was
I
a
know.
completely different rotation.
I know.
Like, everything was different. It's
We need to talk about this fucking home record. 11-11. 4-4 in this playoffs. That's fucking pathetic. It's not like the crowd weren't good tonight. I could hear it on the TV. I could hear the crowd were good. You know, your role players and your confidence players play better at home. What is it that can you explain or at least take a stab at explaining what it is that this team can't seem to harness with one of the best home court advantages in basketball? Like I if not the best, honestly. Um, what is it that they can't seem to tap into? Now I'm glad we're playing the Heat in this sense because I think that you can go to Miami and get at them, even though they do have a perfect record in the playoffs at home so far. You can go to Miami and get at them if you can silence that crowd. That I think that they're the worst fans in basketball personally. Like they're slept
you
on.
do say that every year. Every year you
I
say
mean,
that.
they're slept on as the worst.
A
Fans
lot
in
of them
basketball.
left. A lot of them left before Ray's great shot in game
Yeah,
6.
dude. Yeah, they're so pathetic. Like people shit on Lakers fans. Like there's legit Lakers fans. Like there's legit LA people that like the fucking Lakers. Like there are. And the Staples Center can be an intimidating place to go at times. Mostly because like Jack Nicholson is yelling at you, but like whatever.
I feel like that's why.
I'd be freaked out. I'd be like, oh my God, it's fucking
It's
shining.
shining, bro. Yeah.
But listen, I mean, I don't mind going to Miami for that reason. But this is the fucking TD Garden, bro. Like
yeah,
it's the Boston Celtics. Like, you guys wake up, guys.
Yeah, that's wake up is such a big theme with this
They are
team,
so
man.
fucking sleepy, dude.
It's so
Sleepy Joe
and
Missoula. Sleepy Joe.
It's so frustrating because I was taking notes during the game because I do that sometimes, and
Bobby has ADHD, everybody.
I do, so I like to keep
Diagnosed.
myself on track. Yeah, exactly. Very much diagnosed.
It's in the record books.
So, like, the fact that I have written down here multiple times, defense equals guaranteed stops. Not like certain defense or like
we could hold them to fucking 75 points if we wanted to. That's so frustrating.
It's when we played our game, which is defense, transition, and generating your offense off your fucking defense. it was dominant, bro. It was dominant. We had them down to a shot clock under 10 seconds every single possession. Every single possession. They couldn't do anything. And it's just like they stopped. I don't know. Like you said, man, I've never been more high and low with a team because when they play defense, it gets me so fired up and so optimistic for this team because I see what they can do. But when they don't, it gets me
You
so
called it
low
out every
because
time. You called it out every time in the
pisses
chat.
me off.
You
It
called it out every
pisses
time
me
in the chat.
off.
You were like, they played defense just there, and it worked. They played defense just there, and it worked. And it didn't happen that often, so
It's
you didn't
so
have to hurt, you didn't have
frustrating,
to hurt
bro.
your fingers. But like, you know,
And it's the easiest shots when they don't, and the easiest goddamn layups and
I
jump
know.
shots. There's no one
But
near them. They
the
don't rotate. They
thing
don't
that
fucking
was,
do anything. They don't move.
yeah, I know. The thing that was driving me crazy though, honestly, and like I know that I've been very vocal about Joe Mazzulla on this show, and I know it probably is getting boring to listen to, but I was like, I was worried my voice was going to be hoarse. I was alone with my dog in the fucking house. I just want to reiterate that point. But I was screaming so fucking much to the TV when I heard Joe Mazzulla say to the players and then to Ali LaForce that they were just losing their offensive organization. It's like, you are, by definition, in charge of organizing the fucking offense. Like, what are you talking about? For instance, when you're in a cutaway to a timeout, and Joe Mazzulla is going, you got to stay organized offensively. You got to stay organized offensively. That's not the kind of shit I want to hear. Here's what I want to hear out of Joe Mazzulla's mouth. Hey, guys, Rob Williams was dominating, like, in the low post. Like, he was dominating when we were getting the ball to him early, when he was, like, sliding in. They weren't reacting to him. Can we please concentrate on getting him the ball so he can still be efficient offensively?
Solutions, not problems.
It's not what a coach sounds like,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I honest to God, I want to fucking fly to Boston tonight, right? I want to go to Joe Mazzulla's house, and I'm not going to be mad, Joe. I just want to talk to you. I just want to talk to you, buddy. I just want to talk to you. I have a DVD here. It's called Hoosiers, okay? We're going to sit down. We're going to watch Hoosiers, okay? We're going to start with the 101 class of fucking coaching an NBA basketball team because you have no business coaching a team this talented. Never mind a fucking team that's a professional on the professional level at this point at all. Have you seen his resume, Bobby?
Isn't it like high school?
It was like
what-
the fucking Chattanooga Chat Dogs,
Yeah.
the Maine Lobster Red Claws, and then
That's
the
a real
Boston
team,
Celtics head coach. It's the fucking craziest thing. It's the fucking craziest thing. It's like when they took Eddie Murphy and gave him $80,000 a year in Trading Places because they wanted to see if he could do it when they fired Dan Aykroyd. It's a good movie. You should watch it.
It's a great movie.
A great movie. You seen it? Yeah, they used to
Yeah.
air it on Comedy
Yeah.
Central when we were kids, so we've both seen it. But it's like, just get in there and just figure it out, buddy. And it's like, I'm looking around at we were just talking about Doc Rivers last night and how obviously he's going to get fired in a situation with the 76ers, right?
He did.
And he did, obviously. And
Yeah.
and Mike was like, D'Antoni, bring in D'Antoni because he got the best out of Harden. And I'm like, interesting. And I start looking at the available coaches that are out there right now, right? Monty Williams, Nick Nurse. I'm like,
I would love Nick Nurse.
our coach is fucking Joe Mazzulla and like Nick Nurse is out there. Our coach is Joe Mazzulla and Monty Williams is out there. Like,
I said this, and I was like, if they do pull this off, right?
they should
It's
fire him
almost
anyway.
it's almost disappointing that Joe Mazzulla is going to be grandfathered in because he's the most frustrating coach I've ever seen, and it's so like if this game was a graph, right? You'd see the Celtics. It'd obviously be very up and very down, but it's such a
You could just put my
sharp
heart rate as the
decline
graph.
when it's facts. When the moments get important, the Celtics shrink, and it's so clear and obvious. I don't know.
What is it?
It's
What is that
I think it's
intangible that makes them fuck up in big
but
situations?
they didn't fuck up as much last year. They did fuck up quite a bit last year, but those close games, I felt like they were, they had a pretty good shot. When it came down to it, Tatum could take over. There was things that they could do. They could play great defense. They had a good shot down the stretch if it was close. This team, man, I get nervous when it's close. I'm curious to see what the actual record is in games under 10 points. But they're a completely different team when they're not blowing teams out. Completely different. They get frazzled so easily. And again, I don't mean broken record like you said, man, but it all comes back to that coach because that's who organizes you, and that's like we said, what was it, fucking a week and a half ago? I think it was after game 4, is like a coach is supposed to make you not have to think, because an athlete's brain
When they have time to
specifically,
think, when this team has time to think specifically,
they're
it's a
fucked.
disaster. It's a
Yeah,
fucking disaster.
what an athlete's brain specifically is so discipline based because to be an athlete, you have to have discipline. You have to live by a schedule. You have to your body just reacts to what's happening. And when you don't have a
You know
coach guiding
yourself.
you, you can't
You
do
know
that,
yourself.
man.
You know
You
yourself.
can't do that.
You can take all the good performances you've had in sporting events in your life and all the bad ones. And I swear to God, if you had an inner monologue, if you could hear your thoughts, you were having a bad game. Right. Like
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
could hear your voice in your head going like, "Ah, dude, don't do that. Like adjust. Like fucking bring your shoulder in. Like bring your
Come on,
elbow in."
man. Come on, you got
Yeah.
this. You got
Yeah.
you're
You're
done.
fucked. You're already
Yeah.
fucked. If you're playing on instinct and your body is doing all the work, you're good.
The
Most of the
only
time.
thing the only thing you should be thinking is, "I feel good." You know what I mean? Oh, man,
Got
I'm
him.
good today.
Got
Got
him.
him. Yeah, that's it. That's it. And
Have that,
well,
bitch.
like we were saying earlier, bro, is like when you are making these guys break down a zone defense that they haven't seen really at all, in
Well,
front of
they've
them
seen it because we
live.
play them in the fucking playoffs every year.
Well,
Sure.
facts, that's true.
And the
For what, the
Sixers were
past
doing it.
10 years?
The Sixers were
Um,
doing it, not
but
as
you know
effectively.
what happens when you're not coached on it? You know what you do? You jack up early threes.
Yeah,
That's like literally what happens. It
yeah.
happens in college basketball constantly,
You said it.
constantly.
You said it in one of the Sixers games. You were like, "This looks like a college basketball game."
Yeah, it's very frustrating. And it all comes back to coaching. It's like no matter how much we sit here, we're like, "Oh, we're gonna go through the players. We're gonna do this. We're gonna
Players
do
are
that."
talented, dude. The
Listen,
players are
every
talented.
single time we do this, every single time we
I
do
know.
this,
I know.
it comes back to Joe Mazzulla because that is so clear and obvious what the actual issue is. Like you go on Celtics Twitter and there's people bitching about the player, and they just don't. I don't know if they don't know or they just don't see it because it's so obvious to me. Even the player, I feel like they're rolling their eyes constantly, like when he's fucking talking. Does he
Well,
say anything?
he's like throwing the fucking he's throwing
Bro,
his fucking clipboard, and I'm like,
what,
"Dude, what are you doing?"
what did
Like,
I say? What did I say? He related in the first half, threes and offensive rebounds somehow, and I was very confused by this statement. He's
yeah,
like,
right.
"Yeah, no, you got 4 threes and you got offensive rebound." Like, I don't know, he correlated that, it made no sense. And it's like, dude, you can't fake it when you're an
Allie
NBA head
LaForce
coach. You
Allie LaForce asked him a
feeding him,
question.
feeding him.
I know. Allie LaForce asked him a question. Great sideline reporter, by the way. One of the best we have. But she asked him a question at one point. She was like, "Hey, like, what kind of defensive adjustments are you gonna make to stop this run by the Miami Heat? I mean, they seem to be really able to like switch you on whatever rotation they want. Is it just about hustling around screens? Is it about switching faster?" And Joe was like, "Just gotta get organized." And I was like, "Allie, do you have any interest in coaching a basketball team by chance? Because like we could fucking use you right
But
now. I
she's
know that
feeding
TNT
him,
needs you. I know
feeding him.
TNT needs you. I know that, you're a very important part of the broadcast team. We all love you. But do you have any interest in coaching the Celtics per chance? Per
It's
chance.
literally like he read Basketball for Dummies, but he didn't read it.
He skimmed it.
He
He got
just
the cliff notes.
he skimmed it for keywords, and he's like, "Alright, these are the things I have to say every game. I gotta say offensive rebound at least 6
But like,
times. I gotta say."
what is offensive organization? Like he kept being like, they need to get back to their offensive organization. It's like, dude, you're organizing the offense first of all.
Didn't
Like
Marcus already say that they don't have an organized offense? Clearly, that Joe Mazzulla's offense is not organized. He said that to the media. He said that we don't have an organized offense. It's pretty much random. With quotes around it. That is exactly what he said.
that's what it looks like.
So
I
so
believe it.
so what the fuck are you talking about, Joe?
I
What
don't
are
know.
you?
But
If
like that's
that's
not
it,
a
okay,
message that helps
okay,
you
but
change your game. Like that's
if
not a
the
message that helps you figure anything out. Like
Well,
what
that's
is
that's
that?
exactly what I go back to is like, bro, an offense is supposed to be muscle memory. It's supposed to be just what you do. Like you see things and you react, and that's how you score the fucking basketball. It's not it's not random. Like just do whatever the fuck you want. Bro, how about at the end there, right? You could tell that they didn't know what to do and how disorganized they were just as a whole team. At the very end, where there was 3 of them that touched the ball with 40 seconds left. Each of them had a good look at a three. Each one.
Yeah.
It was Tatum, Horford, and White.
Mhm.
And they all passed it, and then Tatum drove and got fouled. And it's like, guys, game's over already. If you're doing that shit, bro, the game is over.
I know.
You're not.
And then turnovers, really sloppy turnovers at the end where you're passing it to Jimmy Butler. He's that in your
We
head.
gotta talk about
passing
him.
him the fucking ball. We will. All right. The Joe Mazzulla Bitch Fest is over. We're not winning a fucking championship with this guy as our head coach. It's fucking absurd.
I think. Listen, if Spo coaches that many circles around Joe, we're in trouble. I do think it's going to be a tough
time
series.
with him though. Like he outcoaches
that's
everybody.
What I mean. He outcoaches good coaches, great coaches. He outcoaches.
Yeah.
Imagine what he's going to do.
It's why this team is here.
Imagine what he's going to do with this schmuck, bro. He's probably fucking salivating at the mouth right now. Right. It's palpable. The coaching discrepancy.
They were talking about how Van Gundy
palpable.
They were talking about Van Gundy was the original coach of the Heat when Spoelstra was an assistant coach. When it was like, who was on that team? Like Adonis Haslam, young Adonis Haslam, and all these guys.
Right. I mean, you could say that about any Heat team.
Yeah, I guess he's been there for 50 years. He's still fucking showing up. A little bit more gray in the beard there, Adonis.
This guy knows what he's talking about, bro.
Yeah. But anyway, Van Gundy's the coach and Spoelstra's the assistant coach, and
like the Mike Miller days.
Yeah, right. Van Gundy's like, yeah, and you know what? I learned more from him than I think he learned from me, and he was the assistant coach. Ha ha ha. And I was like, yeah, no shit, Stan. You sucked at coaching. You sucked.
And
I would take Stan Van Gundy as our head coach tonight.
Yeah, me too.
Tonight.
Me too. What that quote meant was, I met Spo and was completely threatened for my job immediately.
Yeah.
I mean, immediately went, oh shit, this guy's going to take my job.
He was like a wonder kid. And honestly, when he inherited that first super team, like the all the stuff around
on Spo.
Well, you know what he did that was really smart? He kind of got out of the way. He sort of was like, I'm not going to insert myself into this situation. This is a lose-lose for me. Like if I really get involved, everyone's and like he knew that all the L's were going to be his fault because this is what happens when you play on a LeBron James team. The L's are your fault, the wins are his responsibility, right? Like that's just how it works when you play with LeBron. Those are the early days. But he played it really smart, man. He was like,
well, and then they lost.
You guys just play your game. You're all great.
And I think
then they started listening to him a little bit more.
And then I think that's what happened is they lost and that was it. I mean, the thing is though, is like when you actually listen to Spo talk basketball, you're like, oh, this guy fucking knows basketball. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He says things like, you gotta find your offensive organization.
It's gym teacher talk, bro. It's gym teacher. Yeah.
Dude. He doesn't know the fucking X's and O's. Here's another thing we really need.
Can't someone fucking teach him? Can't they hire someone that knows fucking X? Hire someone.
Yeah, they could have done that. They could hire
someone to draw on the clipboard. You know why he threw the fucking clipboard? Because he doesn't fucking draw on it. That's why. Because he doesn't fucking use it for anything.
It's like fucking.
Have you ever seen him?
Derek White picks up the clipboard and he's like, "Wait, this is just a picture of Joe as a stick figure, saying with a speech bubble, being like, organize yourselves offensively," and then like a rain cloud over his head. I'm like, what is this, Joe?
Oh my god.
A thing I kept saying in the group chat was, sometimes in capital letters, "Hey guys, great practice. It's a tough loss in game one, but everyone can go home when you make 1,000 free throws."
That's the script for the Celtics, man.
I mean, dude, there was a point where we had missed 8 free throws and we were down 4 points. And to me, it's just like the whole complexion, and we never got back above the Heat.
It changes everything. No, 100%. I agree.
It's the complexion of the game. It's momentum. It's when you're aware of the scoreboard. You know,
when you miss an and one opportunity, bro, it's so killer because and what always happens, it seems like, is when you miss those and ones, the other end is another and one or a big play.
You don't get back quick enough.
Yeah, something happens, man, and yeah, it's so momentum killing. It's so bad.
I know.
I don't understand it though, because like, again, it's all that mental toughness and locking in, dude. It's so predictable with this team. It's unbelievable. Like within 10 minutes, if this is a bad night or a good night. Tonight it took to the second half, but within 2 minutes of that second half,
now we're back to blowing third quarters.
Yeah,
We let
the
up
third.
45 points in the third quarter.
That's so stupid.
45
Against this offense.
points in the third quarter.
Man.
We know how
Weren't
to
they the
play
worst
defense.
offense in the NBA in the
in the
regular
regular
season?
season. Yeah.
Like
sure.
bottom 5?
Yeah. They couldn't get the job done to play us in the first round against fucking Chicago, dude.
They're
Like,
just tough. Yeah, they lost to Atlanta in the playing
right,
game.
or right, yeah, that's what I mean, in the playing game.
Yeah.
So we played Atlanta first. We wouldn't be sitting here fucking talking when we played them first. We would've gotten smoked.
Yeah, they would have beat us 100%.
If we had brought that Atlanta energy in and we hadn't been through
They would
fucking
have beat us.
Philadelphia, they would have beaten us in that first
There's
round.
no
Question about
they
it.
might have swept us. They might have swept
Oh
us
my
because
God.
they beat Milwaukee in 5. So they might have swept us.
Where are the adults? Where are the adults? Where are the grown-ups?
Al's trying.
Al's like the only one. Marcus, I gave credit to.
But
Like
the
Marcus
thing
is
is
still
like
out there trying his ass off tonight.
when you have a peer doing that, it's so different because you've been in this kind of situation in a workplace, man, where you have your peer that is the motivator, who's
But you
the
need the
group
boss to
leader,
take
who kind of
responsibility.
right. But then you need the boss to take that to the next level,
Give you a plan.
to
Execute.
and to pass that. And the boss doesn't even have to tell the team the plan. He doesn't even have to tell the team the plan.
Right.
He tells that guy the plan, and they fucking go over it. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many different ways that it can be done, and it's just not happening here. Where there is no upper management. It's that situation where everyone doesn't know what the fuck to do, so that they're like in that fight or flight response all the fucking time. And when it comes time to those big moments, bro, sometimes you do stupid shit when you're in fight or flight. It's just the nature of what it is. You know what I mean? It's
You said something about this in the Discord, and I'm looking at Twitter right now, and it's going crazy about it. What happened with YouTube TV? I have Hulu.
It went down, bro. Middle of the game, during the Little Mermaid commercial, it just went down, and you couldn't get past it. I had to, everyone,
Wow.
earmuffs. I had to stream the game off my old streaming.
Well, no, they
sites,
forced
bro.
your hand. They forced your hand.
Right, they made me do it. Dana White.
You were trying to be a good American.
Dana White would have supported it. Like
you were trying to be a stand-up citizen, and they forced your fucking hand. What are you supposed to do? They should give everybody gift cards or something. That was a fucking crazy game
during the Eastern Conference Finals, bro. Get your shit together, you two.
you gotta
what
get
the
your
fuck
shit
are you doing? What do you got? Joe Mazzulla running the ship over there?
Oh my God, that guy couldn't manage a McDonald's. All right. Actually, you know what? I think managing McDonald's is probably really hard.
Yeah, it doesn't seem it. Because how could you have motivated employees at a McDonald's? And there's nothing more
like all the fucking people.
Yeah, but there's nothing more frustrating than having unmotivated employees when you're a manager. It's almost like having an inept manager.
I feel like this Celtics team is motivated. They want to be managed. They want to be led.
They do, bro.
They want to be told what they're supposed to be doing. They want to win, you know?
Yeah.
All right, we got a couple points left here on the list.
Well, we got to talk about Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Butler's next, and then we're gonna preview game 2 somehow. I don't know.
There's multiple lines in these notes that just says, "I hate Jimmy Butler." It's like
you hate him, but like he's
five
such a fucking
points,
baller,
5 basketball points, and then I hate Jimmy Butler. 5 basketball points, fucking Jimmy Butler. He's so good, man. He's so good in the playoffs. He takes it to such a different level, man. And I've never seen anything like it. I was trying to think, like, during the game, if there's anyone I can correlate in any sport that has risen like he has in the playoffs. The only one I could come up with
comparatively
was Joe Flacco, but that was only once. That was only that one run that he did that.
Do you mean like from the expectations to the reality, like? Because I feel like
the regular season to what he turns into because in the regular season he's not
Eli Manning.
He's not a dominant, but maybe. I guess that's the closest you can come.
I know you don't want to admit it because Eli Manning sucks deep down, and you think good deep down.
But like, I guess that's the closest you can get though, because it's such an elevation, man, from regular season to playoffs. Because regular season Jimmy's good. But playoff Jimmy is, like I said, he's top 5 in the NBA, and there's no doubt about that. There's not many people I would put ahead of Jimmy Butler when it comes down to playoff time.
He does what he needs to do in every given situation.
Every given situation, he's not
exactly
scared what we were talking about. He doesn't think; he just does it, and it's
the right thing.
It's the right thing. Yeah, he doesn't need to be coached. He just He just does it. He's so fucking good.
Have you ever heard the rumor that Michael Jordan is his dad?
Yes, I
Like
have
sired
heard
out of
that
wedlock.
rumor, man. I have heard that.
I believe it.
It makes so much more sense.
I fucking believe it. That
Bro,
man, he's one of the few players. Like I remember when Kobe would give us 40 in the fucking finals, right? And I would still just be blind with rage. Like I would still just be like, "Fuck him, fuck his whole
he
day,
sucks.
fuck his
He still
car,
sucks.
fuck
Kobe
his stock."
swallows. Kobe
Yeah,
swallows.
yeah. And
Yeah.
when LeBron James would give it to us in the fucking Eastern Conference Finals, I'd be like, "Fuck him, he's corny as fuck." I still say this is his
Except for
fucking
that
day.
game 6. Except for that game 6.
No, always. I'm consistent as fuck with LeBron. I'm like, he's corny as fuck. He was fucking. I'm like, he's not that good. Fuck him. And it's all Celtics homer shit. Jimmy Butler is the only one that will give it to us like that in that game. And I'm like, you fucking deserve to win that game, Jimmy. You're a baller, bro. Like you're the
He's such a
fucking
baller.
man, dude. Like,
Did you see the story too about what he did in the bubble? So they gave everyone like $4,000 cash, right? And no one could spend it. So he started like selling, I forget what, like coffee mugs or
I
something
haven't
like
heard
that,
this. No.
right? So he started selling coffee mugs because he literally was like, "How do I hustle everyone out of this money? How do I get this money?" So he started making these coffee mugs. He sold them for $20 a piece, and we keep going. Finally, people started running out of 20s, right? And then only hundreds would be there, and he'd be like, "I got no change." So then he started getting $100 a fucking mug or whatever. I don't even know what he was selling, but like, bro, he's just the baller. Jimmy Butler is the man, and I
really
hate
is.
that we're playing him right now.
No, he
because
really is.
It's so frustrating and so hard to watch.
You remember when like
There's nothing he can do. There's literally nothing he can do.
Yeah. You remember when like Kyrie was playing for the Nets at first when he was post Celtics, right? And like Kevin Durant and shit. And there was like kind of two sides to this podcast where it was like some people were saying like, fuck Kyrie, he's gonna fuck the team up. And like you're kind of right? Like he does go fuck up teams. Kevin Durant, he chases rings. It's very like kids these days, like I watch Sports Center today takes, but like they're not like 100% wrong. Like I would always just be like, I know, but like I love when Kyrie Irving's just like playing basketball. Like I just fucking love watching Kyrie Irving play basketball. It's so much fun. He's a baller. Kevin Durant, like when he plays basketball, it's like
I
one
feel
of
like Kyrie's a
favorite in the
different
world.
case,
Sure. I mean, nowadays, but like
Now-
even when he
now
went to
it's
the
tough.
Mavs, like there was a part of me that was going like, that's a pretty good fucking backcourt. But like I can't help myself with him sometimes. He's
And
so
then they went,
silky
and
and fun to
like
watch.
9 and
Of course, yeah. I mean, he wasn't their only problem in Dallas,
yeah,
but
there's a lot of issue done
it's
there.
an entirely different podcast. But but like to say like the thing about basketball is like you kind of can be a natural sports atheist with basketball sometimes. Like obviously we all want the Celtics to win. Like obviously we're diehard, but you can sort of naturally progress into like a nadir of sports atheism where you're just like, I don't know, that guy, he gave us like fucking 50 points. Like he just gave it to us and we had to take it. We had to eat every single point. We had to eat the napkin.
Yeah.
We had to eat the plate that it was on. We had to eat the tray. And
Jimmy put his dick in the Celtics mouth tonight. He put his dick right in the mouth and was like, "Suck that shit."
We had to finish the
right
Dr.
now.
Pepper, and then we had to. And actually, it was Mr. Pibb, and there was nothing we could say.
It was Mr.
Go
Pibb.
home.
You know what? It
Let's
wasn't
go
even
home
Mr. Pibb. It was
and
Dr.
say,
Bob.
Thank you,
It was
sir.
like,
yeah, thank you, sir. Can I have another? And like that's just like, but honestly, the thing that annoys me about it is like I love Jimmy Butler. I've always loved Jimmy Butler. I think he's a fucking baller. I think that like he finds out players on his team and says like, you're not made of shit, fuck off. I love that about him. I wish everybody was like Jimmy Butler. I wish I could blame our loss tonight on Jimmy Butler's performance. I wish I could, but it's not. We shot ourselves in the fucking dick
because we still,
like,
you know
for
what?
the entire night.
We played like shit and still had that game by 10. So remember I said this in going into the second half where that was going to be a microcosm of this series. It's either we're gonna come out and stomp on their throat.
It turned out to be exactly.
It turned out to be really shitty. So let's hope.
I made a bet with Mike that we would have these guys in 4 or 5, and he had 6 or 7. I should just pay him now, right?
Yeah, you definitely should pay him now
yeah,
because this is going 6 or 7, 100%.
Try and get some double or nothing action.
They'll come out and win game 2. There's no doubt in my mind that we're gonna win game 2. It's back to that where it's like, well, they won't lose 2 in a row. We're gonna win game 2.
We're not winning a final series, Bobby, if we hemorrhage 2+ home games in every single series we play.
You were up 10 in this. You were up 10 in the second half. You can in the Eastern Conference Finals. You cannot come out like that and expect to actually win a championship.
Yeah,
it's just so funny because bro, we're in the same exact position as we were last year, right? Like literally,
It's actually exactly like the bubble.
the script.
It's just exactly like the bubble.
The script is already written, right? That's how I feel like what we're watching is, and it's like the butterflies and the happy feelings are nowhere to be found like they were last year, man. Me and you last year, bro, we were defending the Celtics with fucking shamrock armor. Like we had shamrock shields, and we were like, this Celtics team is the greatest fucking thing.
Because they were made
They
of
can go
something.
fuck themselves this year.
I
They
know.
can go. They
I
can
know.
literally go fuck themselves this
I
year. It pisses me off.
Yeah, my dad and my brother were like, "What's the problem? What's the
There's
problem?"
just it's
And I was like, "They're fucking pussies.
coaching.
They're
It's
pussies."
coaching.
And my dad was like, "Don't say that on your podcast." And I was like, "They are
They're
though."
pussies, bro.
I
But
was
they are.
like I was like, "You know what? I'm not worried about hearing from them because they're pussies."
The thing is, last year they weren't pussies last
No,
year,
they
and
weren't.
you
Oh,
know
yeah,
why?
you
Because
made though.
their coach wasn't a pussy, right?
Yeah.
He got pussy, but
Yeah. He sure did.
um,
Now he's not our coach anymore.
it's just I still feel like we're in an alternate universe sometimes, man. Like something
We're in
happened.
the worst timeline.
Yeah, we're in the worst timeline possible because
Iron Man doesn't die to save civilization in this timeline.
no,
We just
man,
get taken over by Thanos.
and Joe Mazzulla fucking is the head coach of the Celtics. Everything else should be like,
Against
oh well, that's different. That's cool. Oh, and Ime, whatever
Oh
the
my
fuck his name is,
gosh.
isn't
He's
a
not even our
coach.
coach anymore. He's still managing to butcher
I
his
don't
name. Poor Bobby.
don't
Listen,
care about it.
you know, we're almost out of time. I was going to do an in-depth preview of Game 7, but I think you sort of hit the nail on the head before. It's like
I mean,
we
game
know
seven.
what games we know are of Game 2. Fuck it. I mean, I don't even know if we're
Game
getting
7, sure. I mean, whatever.
of Game 2. Yes, excuse
They're
me.
gonna win by 20. They're gonna win by
But
20.
the problem
know-
with Game 2 is
we know.
like they have to win. Like the only like it's not even going to put us in a good mood if they win. You know, it's not even going to be like, oh
No,
yeah,
it
we
will.
really came back.
It
and
will
turned
though because
around.
we're gonna
Like,
whoop their ass because
I
that's what
hope we need
do.
to beat them by like 40, or otherwise I'm not going to be satisfied.
It's so predictable with this team, man. It really is because
Predictably unpredictable, though. You know,
Yeah,
like so
yeah.
inconsistent at the same time. It's like
as soon as they get you up, they're like, "Hey, fuck you." No,
fuck you. It's like a toxic girlfriend. That's what
they
being.
really are a fucking toxic girlfriend, bro. They give you
All
that.
right.
You're ready to go, and then they give you that one blowjob that makes your toes go numb, and you're like, "Oh, bro, like how you go to your buddies? How am I gonna leave that, bro? What do you?"
All right.
And
Fuck it.
you're
I'll
like,
just patch
"Oh,
the
I
hole in my
mean,
wall. It'll be fine.
she took both balls," and you're like, "Bro, both balls."
Well, the Celtics have taken no balls tonight and had none. So for myself, DK Sizzle, for the real BK Bob Kelly, we will be back with more ball talk, basketball talk. And honestly, I mean, I can't keep doing this. So for myself and the real BK Bob Kelly, thanks for listening to Missing the Point.